I now declare the first session of the 2025 Ashland Town Meeting to order. Will you please stand and join in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Chair of the Select Board, Andy Fitch.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Play ball.
Thank you. I would like to introduce the individuals up here at the front. To my right, we have Charlie Bazell of the Board of Selectmen. Then there is Fred Welch, the Town Manager. Andy Fitch, Chair of the Board of Selectmen. Chris Genoza on the Board of Selectmen. Ann Barney on the Board of Selectmen. Becky Hartley, our Town Clerk. Luann McAndrews, here on the left, is the Assistant Moderator. From the Budget Committee, we have Kendall Hughes, the Chair, and David Rule as a member. First, I want to thank Craig and the crew of the Public Works Department for clearing the roads this morning, and also Craig and Tim Pocket from the school for setting up for the meeting. We have a request from the school that if everybody would take with them whatever you brought in, that would be a big help. Please make sure you've checked in with the board, with the supervisors in the back, and that you've received your red voting card. There is a sheet back there with a list of rules that I'd like to try to follow. I'll acknowledge one speaker at a time, please. Please speak clearly with no rudeness or profanity. Please speak from the microphone, announcing your name and showing your voter card so that we know you're a registered voter. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. I suggest you state your main point at the beginning. Please show respect to all speakers. I'd like to allow the opportunity for everybody to speak once before someone has the opportunity to speak a second time. All questions and discussion are to be addressed to me, and I will then refer it to the appropriate individual for answer. All amendments are to be in writing. We have an appropriate form up here prepared by the town clerk for that. Any request for a secret ballot must now be by 5 registered voters. And again, we have a form up here at the front that can be filled out for that. All right. So now we'll start with Article 1, which is what will appear on the ballot in March. These are the vacancies that are open on the different departments. Right now we have, for Board of Selectmen, Christopher Genosa and Jenny Angel are running. For Moderator, I'm rerunning. Budget Committee, David Rule is rerunning. Trustee of the Trust Fund, Christine Garcia. Library Trustee, Alice Staples. And there's no one running for Cemetery Trustee. There is another opening on the Budget Committee. And if you wish to run, it would have to be right in because you can't be on the ballot at this time. Okay. Is that all of them? Okay. All right. We'll move on to Article 2. Article 2 is the zoning ordinance, proposed zoning ordinance amendment. The Planning Board has had 2 public hearings on this, so we really don't need to read it, thankfully. But if you have any specific questions, let us know. So why don't we open up with that? Does anyone have any discussions on the zoning ordinance? Seeing no questions, that will appear on the ballot for voting in March as written. Article 3 on page 8. This is the town budget. It has an estimated tax impact of $8.73. Shall the town of Ashland vote to raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations, voted separately. The amount set forth in the budget posted with the warrant as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes as set forth therein, totaling $3,971,419. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $3,712,386, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Town of Ashland or by law. Or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA Chapter 440:13, 10 through 16, to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 5-1. Any discussion? Being no discussion, that article will appear on the ballot as written. Article 4, Electric Department Budget, no tax impact. Shall the Town of Ashland vote to raise and appropriate is the Ashland Electric Department operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately. The amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant is amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $3,508,859. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $3,442,224, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Town of Ashland or by law. Or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA Chapter 40:13, 10 through 16, to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 5-1. Any discussion? There being no discussion, this will appear on the ballot as written. Article 5, Water Department Budget, no tax impact. Shall the Town of Ashland vote to raise and appropriate as the Ashland Water Department operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $403,578. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $349,423, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Town of Ashland or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA Chapter 40:13, 10 through 16, to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any discussion? I see no discussion. This article will appear in the ballot as written. Article 6, Sewer Department Budget, no tax impact. Shall the Town of Ashland vote to raise and appropriate is the Ashland Sewer Department operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations separately, the amount set forth in the budget, posted with the warrant, or is amended by vote of the first session, for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $877,838. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $849,537, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Town of Ashland or by law. Or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA Chapter 40:13, 10 through 16, to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any discussion? There being no discussion, this one will appear on the warrant as written. Article 7, Class 5 Public Highway. Shall the Town of Ashland vote to accept as a Class 5 public highway known as Industrial Drive from the United States Route 3 to its end as laid out by the Planning Board as a right-of-way easement until accepted as a public way by the Town of Ashland. Said road to run from United States Route 3, a distance of 201.5 feet, being 50 feet in width, recorded at the Grafton Registry of Deeds. If such public highway is accepted by the town under this warrant article, the developers of the Mill Pond development will return to the town all right to easements and other legal usages of the land owned by the Town of Ashland and utilized as its park and recreation property, abutting United States Route 3. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Any discussion?
Yes. But before we discuss it,
Yes, before we discuss it though, I would like permission to speak with the lawyer who has just arrived.
Okay.
I can come to you, Randy.
So that's laid out in the plat, isn't it? That's laid out in the original subdivision. It is, yeah. I was looking at it. Yeah, it was laid out. So it's been in limbo ever since. Well, no, the deeds.
Madam Moderator,
I don't think that's on. You have to push the button.
Give it a little tap.
are we on now?
Try
I think
that.
it's on now.
Underneath this chair. I think we're gonna need that chair. Looks like she's trying to come.
Madam Moderator, we would like to change the wording of the article to, shall the town of Ashland vote to accept as a Class 5 public highway the right-of-way known as Industrial Drive, shown on a plan approved by the planning board and recorded in the Grafton County Registry of Deeds. Said road to run from United States Route 3, a distance of 201.05 feet, being 50 feet in width. The acceptance of Industrial Way by the town would allow for negotiations to begin between the town and the developers of Mill Pond Development to discuss the return to the town of the easements running across the land owned by the town of Ashland and currently used by Parks and Recreation.
Do I hear a second to that amendment?
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions on the amendment? No discussion. I'll move the motion to, the amendment is read and seconded. So we're going to vote now just on agreeing that we will amend that article. All in favor of amending the article as written, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Is there any discussion on the article now as amended before we vote to accept it? Okay.
I think you get one up back.
I'm not seeing. Oh. Sorry, Linda.
Okay, my question is, if this does not pass, what happens next?
We will probably lose a portion of our park if they're allowed. We will probably lose a portion of the ballpark.
Any other questions? Seeing no further questions or discussion. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Bob.
Oh.
The battery was down.
Oh, the battery's dead.
Yes.
Just asking to make sure that everybody understands that as we accept this road as a town road, there would not be us to require us to do any modifications to it. If the Mill Pond people wanted to bring water and sewer through, they would have to do it on their own. I'm sure that's correct.
I actually believe the water and sewer will be coming in from Winter Street, but we would ensure that it was traveled beside the public way.
Andy, can you clarify the portion that's being taken over? It's 200 feet, so that ends roughly down where the skating park is now, area is now?
Almost.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit short of where the skating park is. It actually looks like it's close to the corner of the gazebo.
Any other questions? Seeing no other questions, I'll now move the article as amended. Those in favor of the article as amended to be placed on the ballot in March, say aye or raise your card. Those opposed? The ayes have it. This article will appear in the ballot as amended. Article 8, Contingency Fund. No tax impact. Shall the town of Ashland vote to establish a contingency fund for the current year for unanticipated expenses that may arise and appropriate $25,000 to be deposited into the fund. The sum to come from the unassigned fund balance and no amount to be raised from taxation. Any appropriation left in the contingency fund at the end of the year will lapse to the general fund. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 5-1. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, this article will appear on the ballot as written. Article 9, Fire Department Capital Reserve Fund. Estimated tax impact, 16 cents. Shall the town of Ashland vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $75,000 to be added to the Fire Department Capital Reserve Fund established in 2013 for the purpose of repairing or purchasing fire department vehicles. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any discussion or questions? Seeing no discussion, this article will appear on the warrant as written. Article 10, Police Department, Capital Reserve Fund, Police Station, no tax impact. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 to be added to the Police Station Capital Reserve Fund, established in 2024 for the purpose of purchasing or constructing a police station. Said funds to come from an anonymous donation of which funds are being held in the general fund. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any questions or discussion? No? No questions or discussion. This article will appear on the warrant as written. Article 11, Police Department Car Capital Reserve Fund. Estimated tax impact, 7 cents. Shall the town of Ashland raise and appropriate the sum of $30,000 to be deposited into the Police Department Capital Reserve Fund established in 2013 for the purpose of repairing and purchasing police department vehicles. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any questions or discussion? No questions or discussions. This article will appear on the warrant as written. Article 12, Public Works Capital Reserve Fund. Estimated tax impact, 7 cents. Shall the town of Ashland vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $30,000 to be deposited in the Department of Public Works Capital Reserve Fund, established in 2016 for the purpose of vehicles and equipment replacement or repairs. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any questions or discussion? No questions or discussion. Article 12 will appear on the warrant as written. Article 13, Road and Bridge Capital Reserve Fund. Estimated tax impact, 33 cents. Shall the town of Ashland vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $150,000 to be deposited into the Road and Bridges Capital Reserve Fund established in 2013. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any questions or discussion? Seeing no discussion or questions, Article 13 will appear in the warrant as written. Article 14, Building Maintenance, Repair, Capital Reserve Fund. Estimated tax impact, 11 cents. Shall the town of Ashland vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be deposited into the Building Maintenance and Repair Capital Reserve Fund for for the purpose of maintaining and repairing all town buildings. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any questions or discussion? No questions or discussions. Article 14 will appear in the warrant as written. Article 15, Library Capital Reserve Fund. Estimated tax impact, 5 cents. Shall the town of Ashland vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be deposited into the Ashland Library Capital Reserve Fund, established in 2015 for the purpose of purchasing, building, or renovating a facility, including furnishing and equipment, for the Ashland Town Library. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 4-1. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any questions or discussion? Go ahead, Alice.
This year the library has worked on a new plan for expanding and renovating the current building. And we are excited to start this project. We have funds enough to get a good start on the expansion, and most importantly, the accessibility issues that the library has. And we will be able to have a better access to the library. We get weekly people who can't access the library from any door because of mobility issues. So we're hoping to build a parking lot and then have an on-grade approach to the library, in addition to expanding the restrooms. And the big part of the expansion will be a children's room. So we're hoping to get more funds from the town to begin this project.
Any other questions?
What happened to all the money that you had already appropriated for when you wanted to buy the library over here?
We still have it, and we're going to be using that to expand and renovate.
Now you're asking for what, another 25?
Yes.
Do you know how much money you have?
Yes. In the capital reserve fund, we have $181,181. We have our anonymous donation of $402,034. We have about $14,000 in our building fund, $11,000 in other donations, and the Scrivener fund is $66,000. So we're at about $675,000, which again will give us a good start. It's not going to be able to complete the project, but that's going to give us a good start.
Thanks.
Any other questions? No other questions or discussions? This article, which one was it? 15 will appear on the warrant as written. Article 16, Police Department radios, no tax impact. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $29,046 for the purpose of purchasing new radios for the police department. Said funds to come from the unassigned fund balance in the amount of $10,000, and the remaining $19,046 to come from grant funds that have been received. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 4-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any questions or discussion? None? Seeing no questions or discussion, Article 16 will appear on the warrant as written. Article 17, Parks and Recreation Revolving Fund. Shall the town of Ashland vote to establish a Parks and Recreation Revolving Fund in accordance with New Hampshire Revised Statutes Annotated, Chapter 31:95-HC, into which will be deposited fees collected from the rental of the Town of Ashland's Edward M. Doggett Campground, not to exceed 12% of the total fees collected. Money in the fund shall be allowed to accumulate from year to year and shall not be considered part of the town's general fund balance. Funds deposited in the fund may only be utilized for the purpose of maintenance of all facilities under the Parks and Recreation Department. The town treasurer shall have custody of all monies in the fund and shall pay out the same only upon order from the Board of Selectmen, and no further approval is required by the legislative body to expend. Such sums may be expended only for the purpose for which the fund was created. Majority vote required, recommended by the Board of Selectmen 3-1, recommended by the Budget Committee 5-1.
No.
One abstain. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. 5-0, 1 abstain, and the Board of Selectmen was 3-0, 1 abstained. Sorry. Any questions or discussion?
My name is Steve Tamalonis, and I got a question.
Could you come up to the...
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
My question is...
Wait, oh, sorry. Could you spell your last name? I'm sorry.
My last name is Tamalonis. It's Tamulonis.
Thank you.
Thank you. So it's only 12% of this would be going towards the recreation. Well, I'm just kind of curious where the other 88% goes.
Okay.
Operating of...
Excuse me, wait a minute. Ian, do you want to answer that?
It goes, it's revenue.
No, you go ahead.
It's revenues for the town.
Oh, to help reduce our taxes.
Yes.
Okay. And do we get to say where that gets used, or it's just a general fund?
Yeah.
Okay. And is 12% enough to cover all of the expenses for the recreation department for the year?
No.
No, the recreation department right now covers itself with the other summer camps, after-school programs, and those things.
Oh, it's okay.
We're just trying to set this aside, so if there's any kind of maintenance that we need, like this year we needed some major maintenance for the campground, and we had to find it in other spots. But if we have this fund set aside, it'll be there, so if something breaks and we need to fix it, it won't impact the town.
I totally understand. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions or discussion? If none, this article will appear on the warrant as written. Article 18, Economic Development Committee. To see if the town will vote to authorize the Ashland Economic Development Committee to research potential improvements to the Ashland Town Beach. Our goal is to gather information, review permitting requirements, search for potential grants, seek community input, and develop a comprehensive plan that would enhance the recreational value and overall appeal of the beach area. This authorization will not require any expenditure of town funds. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 3-0 with 1 abstained. Any questions or discussion?
Hi, my name is Jenny Angel, and I am on part of the Economic Development Committee. And what I'm requesting is that we make a slight change to the second sentence in this article to read, "Our goal is to gather information, review permitting requirements, search for and apply," that's what I'd like added, "for potential grants, seek community development, input, etc." But so what we'd like to do is add that phrase, "and apply."
Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second to that?
Second. Wait a minute.
Baker.
The gates open coming out of the board?
Any discussion on the proposed amendment? If none, we will vote on accepting the amendment only. Those in favor of allowing the addition of, to apply for, into Article 18, please signify by saying aye or raising your card. Those opposed? The ayes have it. So the article will be amended. You can just, do you need anything in the other?
It does. That's what they're doing.
Is there any question on the article as amended before we just vote on that? No. No other discussion or questions? Okay. Those in favor of accepting the article for the warrant article as amended, please raise your red cards. Anyone opposed? The ayes have it. Article 18 will appear on the warrant as amended. Article 19. Kearsarge Solar LLC. Shall the town lease a portion of its land on Collins Street, parcel 05, 010, 003, 002, 004, and on Cedar Lane, parcel 05, 010, 004, 001, 003, to Kearsarge Solar LLC for a term of 20 years with an option to renew for 4 additional 5-year periods, with exclusive rights to lease such portion and right to occupy and obtain rights necessary on the property required to develop, design, engineer, construct, install, own, operate, maintain a solar photovoltaic generating facility, and authorize the Board of Selectmen to execute all documents and take all other actions necessary to accomplish this purpose. Majority vote required, recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 4-0. Any discussion on Article 19? Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Lutero from Thompson Street, and I'm pretty sure I had my answer from the town manager yesterday, but I wanted to be assured that the town has no liability should this company go out of business and leave that stuff up there on Collins Street, and we'd be responsible for the cleanup.
The town has no liability.
And that's how
It will be a part of the contract.
part of the contract, but if they're going out of business, is it a bond?
That will be part of the contract, correct. We
Okay.
will make a bond on the contract.
Because these companies could be, or may go out of business.
They can't, Andy, they can't hear you.
A bond will be added to the contract to ensure that removal takes place.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? No other questions or discussion? Article 20 will appear on the warrant as written. I'm sorry, is that the right one? 19 will appear on the warrant as written. Petition warrant Article 20. Estimated tax impact, 3 cents. We, the registered voters in the town of Ashland, present this petitioned article to be included in the 2025 Town of Ashland warrant. Shall the voters raise and appropriate $12,000 to the Grafton County Senior Citizens Council, Inc. for services for Ashland residents. From July 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2024, Grafton County Senior Citizens Council, Inc. provided services for 107 Ashland residents, and ServiceLink provided service for 14 residents. These services included nutrition, transportation, outreach support, ServiceLink support, and more. The cost of providing these services was $100,431.07. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any discussion or questions? There being no questions or discussion, Article 20 will appear on the warrant as written. Petition warrant Article 21. Estimated tax impact, 2 cents. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,600 $92 for the Pemmy Baker Hospice and Home Health. As a nonprofit agency, Pemmy Baker Hospice and Home Health provides services without regard to ability to pay and serves many uninsured and underinsured clients. Many of the services of the Pemmy Baker Hospice and Home Health provides are not covered fully by insurance. The requested appropriation amounts to less than $5 per year per resident, based on the recent census data, and represents a small fraction of the cost of providing services to the residents in their homes. Pemmy Baker Hospice and Home Health provides home health, hospice, and palliative care services in the Ashland community, as well as educational programs, workshops, and bereavement counseling. These services to uninsured or underinsured patients help the town limit welfare payments for medical services. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any questions or discussion? Seeing no questions or discussion, Article 21 will appear on the warrant as written. Petition warrant Article 22. Estimated tax impact, 1 cent. To see if the town will vote to appraise and appropriate the sum of $3,876 for the operation of Tri-County Community Action Program, Inc. service programs in Ashland. Transportation, energy assistance, weatherization, guardianship, Head Start, homeless intervention and prevention, disaster relief, and the Tamworth Dental Center. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any questions or discussion? Being no questions or discussions, Article 22 will appear on the warrant as written. Petitioned warrant Article 23. Estimated tax impact, 0. To see if the town of Ashland will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,250 for Transport Central, a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in Plymouth, New Hampshire. This funding will support our efforts to continue providing free transportation to qualified individuals who lacked other means of getting to medical appointments or seeking medical treatment. A qualified individual is defined as someone over 60 years old, a person with disability, or a veteran who does not have access to alternative transportation services. Since its inception in 2013, Transport Central has been serving Ashland and the other towns within our 15-town catchment area. Over the past decade, we have facilitated more than 31,000 rides with our volunteer drivers covering over 1.5 million miles to assist citizens in need. In addition to transportation, Transport Central offers mobility management services. We assist elderly and disabled clients with a range of transportation-related issues, including rescheduling appointments, finding alternative transportation options, and navigating hospital and agency services more effectively. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 4-0, 1 abstained. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any questions or discussion? Seeing no questions or discussions, Article 23 will appear on the warrant as written. Petition to warrant Article 24. Estimated tax impact, 44 cents. To see if the town of Ashland will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $200,000 to be added to the Police Department Police Station Capital Reserve Fund, established in 2024, for the purpose of purchasing or constructing a police station. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 3-1. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 6-0. Any questions or discussion? Seeing no questions or discussion, Article 24 will appear on the warrant as written. Petitioned warrant Article 25. Estimated tax impact, 1 cent. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $3,000 to be deposited in the account of the Ashland Historical Society for the purpose of maintenance and repairs to the Whipple House Museum owned by the town of Ashland. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 4-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee, 5-0, 1 abstained. Any questions or discussion?
Does that not fall under the building, town warrant, so we have the building, I think of it. Yeah, the reserve, the building reserve, does that
It does
building
not.
fall under that?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
That's a good answer.
What? Did somebody have another question? No other questions or discussion? Article 25 will appear in the warrant as written. Petition warrant Article 26. To see if the town will vote to dissolve the Budget Committee. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen, 3-1. Go ahead, son.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I am opposed to this. This is a check and balance on the budget. Even this year, the Budget Committee was able to trim some of the expenses off of the suggested budget that was given to them by the town. The Budget Committee is a check balance for the citizens of this state, this town, for the purpose of, taxes. Thank you.
Good point, Bob. Sherry?
I just want to agree with Bob. There's no reason you can't have a budget committee, it's just, you gotta learn to agree to disagree. Plain and simple.
Point of order. We don't know who she is. Could she?
Right,
follow
yeah.
the protocol?
Sherry, not everybody knows.
Oh, Sherry Downing, sorry. Small business owner in town.
Could you show your red card too, please?
She just gave it back to me.
Oh. Huh? Yeah.
Sherry Downing had a business in town, have a business in town, been here for 25 years. Been on the budget committee for 9.
Any other questions? Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Moderator. Steve Tamalonis, 24 River Street. Has it outlived its usefulness? Is it, if it hasn't, I feel like the same way as everybody else, it's a great check and balance. If we can sustain that, I'd really appreciate it as a taxpayer. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I request a vote on it.
Yes.
There's,
We knew he was because he spoke before.
you have
She's got a question.
Oh,
Alice.
Alice.
I'll go to her.
I just wondered, Alice Staples, I just wondered if we can ask the select board why they voted for this?
Charlie Mazzello, I'm the one in the 3-1. And I want to concur with most of the comments here today that this is a necessary inconvenience for the select board. It is, when you're on the select board and you're trying to get things done and you're working, figuring things out to the best of your ability, I mean, there's a sense of, you're always getting it right. But the budget committee is a group that double checks that and makes sure there is a check and balance in the town. I don't think, even though I like to get my way, I don't want my way to be imposed when, perhaps it's not the best way. So I just want to be on the record here of saying that the budget committee is an important part of this town. Yes, I get it. If you're on the select board, it can be inconvenient to have that oversight, but this should continue, and the check and balance is critical in a democratic form of government like we have.
I agree that a budget committee could be important. However, the budget committee has to show up. There have been times when there has not been a quorum. This needs to be a wake-up call.
Yeah, so I'm Christian, so I voted against it. The problem with the budget committee is I think a lot of people don't understand how the whole process works, where the department heads are meeting with the town manager, they're meeting with the finance director, they're going through and they're already trimming the budget before it comes to the select board. Then we go through it again with the department heads trying to trim it down. With the budget committee, when they're meeting and can't have a quorum, or they're meeting and coming in at the 11th hour and they're not involved in the day-to-day operations like many of us on the select board are, they're almost coming in misinformed. And that just, it doesn't work that way. You can't just show up at budget season and try to say, all right, well, we're gonna cut this off. Well, they don't even know why, or some of them may not know why this was even talked about. It may have been talked about in March or April and then put on the warrant at the end of the year. So therein lies the issue with this. Thank you.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Bob.
I'm disappointed at the response from the select board. Sounds like that they don't want to have they've got some kind of a vendetta against the budget committee because they didn't have a quorum. That does happen in government. We know that it happens, but it's still a check and balance, and it's check and balance on you, and apparently you don't like it.
Bob, 2 out of 3 combined meetings were not attended by a quorum of the budget committee. That's an issue.
Microphone. Wait.
2 out of 3 of the combined meetings that were held with the budget committee and the board of selectmen, the budget committee did not have a quorum. That's a problem.
That is what I was gonna say. We made special appointments so that we could go over this with them and let them know why certain things were in there, and one person came.
Well, I don't remember that when I spent my 3 years on the select board. I would like to hear from the chairman of the budget committee and see what his response is.
First of all of the meetings that the budget committee had on its own, we did have quorums for. The only meetings that we did not necessarily have a quorum for were the meetings which were scheduled with as a joint meeting for us to listen to the department heads. It was, members were traveling, this is a problem. It was videotaped, they all watched the videotape, so they all were informed of what was going on. Okay. The budget committee is it doesn't cost the town anything. We're not paid by any members of anybody. We're all volunteers. We do need members. We do have an opening. So feel free to sign up and run. We only work for you guys as a check and balance.
Thank you. And I do request a vote.
Vote on, because it'll be on the ballot.
No, I want to, yeah, whether or not I'm opposed to it, so I'd like to have a vote in opposition. For and against. So, bring it up.
You did that, Mark?
Well, it'll be on the ballot. We can't really take it off the warrant.
We're going to be on the ballot.
We can't remove it on a petitioned item off the warrant. Right.
I get it.
Sherry, did you have a question? Could you come up to the mic, Sherry, please?
All right, I guess my question is, this is a petition warrant article, and for what I'm listening to, unfortunately, they're elected officials and select board are elected officials. I would hope that the select board did not put this warrant article out, this petition warrant article, where you got 25 signatures of people to get rid of the budget committee just to do check and balances. Now, when I was on the budget committee, which I served 9 years, 3 terms, we had monthly meetings. I don't know if you still do that, but I recommend it highly that you do monthly meetings. I realize we do not have them in July because the town is very busy. But if you're not keeping due diligence once a month, so you can keep up with these guys, or these guys keep up with you, it's not gonna work. So once again, you all need to learn how to disagree or agree to disagree. Whether what your beliefs are, black, white, red, yellow, green, I don't care. But this does not help the townspeople any.
So the budget committee did not make this warrant article. We did not put it on, we did vote on it. And I can say for me, the reason I voted on it is because the meetings we're talking about, we made ahead of time to go over with the budget committee each and every line from the department heads to go over and say why we needed it, why we didn't, why it went up, why it went down, and one person showed up. Then that puts us behind. This, I think we need checks and balances, I do, but we need people to be there that are going to do it when they agree to be there.
I also agree with that too, if they're gonna run, play the clock.
Any other comments or questions? Nothing further. The Article 26 will appear in the warrant as written. I'd like to request a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion to adjourn has been made and seconded. All in favor, please raise your cards. Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Hope I wasn't too bad.